We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani, and you are tuning in for another great Monday morning to the Couples Academy Show. It's just me, folks. Hopefully, you'll be all right with that. Well, if you're not, then oh well. But we're here anyway. Listen, we'd love to see who you are and where you are dialing in from. We know that you're from all over the world. And we love that because we believe that there's going to be a global takeover of marriage, and we want to be a part of that process. There is a war out there, and we are fighting it. We are on the front line, fighting against divorce, fighting against emotional detachment, fighting against all the things that make relationships go wrong. And we're glad that you are a soldier in this army and you're dedicated to doing what's necessary to turn things around. Listen, we're starting a new conversation today. But before we get started, listen, guys, as you know, we're literally about a week and a half away from the Last Chance Weekend. We have 2 slots left. 4 couples from around the country are flying in, driving in, busing in, walking in, doing what they have to do to get what it is that they have to get. But that means it's not over yet. It's not over yet. And so here's an opportunity for you to get that spot, to get that slot, to do what's necessary to turn your relationship around. We've talked about this before, that towards the end of the year, around that November, December time period, that's when people are making some serious decisions about what their life is going to look like. Do I want to be in this relationship? Do I want to turn this around? Is it worth my time? Is it worth all of this energy? Well, guess what? You don't have to wait till the end of the year to figure out what you're going to do. Start now. If the thought is in there, do it now. So listen, before we get into this conversation, once again, I'm going to take this opportunity to share with you what the Last Chance Weekend is, and then we'll get started with our conversation. That's right. That's the Last Chance Weekend, folks. Now, let me give some clarity. I literally just got a phone call this morning with someone who was interested in attending. And they were like, I really want to come. Not sure. This is the last one, right? And I'm like, well, is this the final one or is this the Last Chance Weekend? No, is this the final one? I'm like, no. So I think it's important for me to give you guys clarity. Remember, we do a number of different things, and for about a year or so, we have been doing a lot of retreats Those retreats are designed for those in our Moving Forward program. We are putting an end to the retreats. The retreats are wonderful getaways where you go to remote destinations and you have a session here and a session there, maybe one on communication, one on how to connect, one on sexual fulfillment. And then the rest of the time is spent enjoying yourselves. You're at the pool, you're going shopping, you're doing little couples activities that can really help you reconnect. There's game night. It's an amazing experience. And we have those. We've had those. But we are discontinuing that. That is why we have partnered with an amazing organization in the Chicago area that, in my humble opinion, does one of the best retreats in the world. It's called the Couples Getaway. So any retreat we do from this point after our final one this year will be in partnership with them. Sometimes you have to learn how to get on board with people who are doing what they do phenomenally well. If you're good at something and others are great at it, you go with those who are great. And so you'll be hearing information probably starting this week about the Couples Getaway, which is going to be in Wisconsin. If you have not signed up for it, you definitely want to do so. But we specialize in intensives, and the intensives that we do come in two forms. It's either going to be private or group. And once again, that last chance weekend, we're together for about 10, 12 hours a day. And it's intense. It's serious. It's not for the faint of hearts. We wake up early in the morning. We go late into the evening. We do have private time. You know, many of the concerns are like, well, I don't know about sharing my stuff with other couples. And, you know, my spouse is private and I'm private and I'm not trying to have this get out. And we get that. That is why we build privacy into the group experience. So when it comes to the details of, say, the affair, and unpacking those things, you're going to do that with a practitioner in private. And then when it comes to other relational issues that we all deal with, that will be in the group sessions. So there will be private time, there will be group time. Does that make sense? It's a fine balance of the two. So you're able to keep what matters to you within the confines of your own home, but then you're able to share other things that you have more comfort and freedom in. And that's the benefit, because not only are you learning from us, you're learning from the other couples as well. And so the last chance weekend, we have upwards of 6 couples at any given time. We keep it small, we keep it quaint, because we're able to go deeper into people's particular issues to help them come up with a solve. But when the group is too big, there's only so much you can do. So if that hopefully answers the question, or if that has been the thing that you've been wondering about, listen, hope you got your answers. All you need to do is get yourself here. Yes, you have to pay for your own airfare. You got to put your own gas in your own car. We don't do that. But when you get here, everything else is included: your lodging, your meals, the experiential learning, the curriculum, the coursework, the materials, everything that you experience here is included in that investment of $49.95. That's right, $4,995. So I hope that answers that question, because many people have been asking. They've been reaching out in discovery calls, sending emails. If you just listen to this show regularly, hopefully you have the answers that you need. Listen, we just had a private marriage intensive with an amazing couple. They wanted to share with you what they got out of it. So hopefully it'll be an inspiration to you to get in this to change your life.
I am Oliver, and this is my wife Janice. We are the Shockleys. We're from Ocala, Florida, and we came here broken. I came here in fear of losing my marriage. And my takeaway from this weekend was so important to me, because I needed something. I came here for something to help me to gain my marriage back, because I was losing it, and I found me here. I found things about me that I didn't even know, and I was able to get in contact with myself. That my wife identified that, and it really, really made a difference. And I just want to thank Sonny and Danielle, Couples Academy, for making this available. to help save our marriage.
My name is Janice Shockley, as he said, and I came here, at the same, hoping to save my marriage, and this was really my last stop. I was done after this, if this didn't work. And I'm here to say that it does work. Everything that her son had us doing, that maybe we didn't understand why, but now we see why. And I got what I came for, and there's a purpose for my marriage, and we're gonna fulfill it, and I'm just thankful for Sonny and Danielle, because this weekend saved my marriage.
And that's what it's about, folks. It's about doing things that will save your marriage. But as we've said before, it's not just about your marriage. It's about the relationship within that marriage. You can have a great marriage, money in the bank, beautiful kids, nice neighborhood, there's systems, there's structure to how you manage your day to day. But relationally, you're not there. You're in the basement. Things aren't going well. You're disconnected. You don't enjoy each other. You don't communicate. You don't have sexual fulfillment. None of those things are working out. The relationship within the marriage is what it's all about. And so listen, guys, we're talking about the topic today, 7 reasons people don't go to counseling. Now, generally speaking, we know that men are the ones that are most apprehensive when it comes to counseling, because we are wired to be fixers. We are wired to figure it out on our own. We don't want other people all up in our business. Now, I will say that there are many men who do want counseling. The circumstances around that oftentimes are, when it's almost too late, when that spouse is literally, her bags are packed, she's 1 foot out the door, or she's already gone, then it's just like, let's get counseling, let's figure it out. And a lot of times it's too late. Or the husband does want counseling and he wanted it a long time ago, and maybe the wife is the one who's apprehensive. The wife doesn't want to get into things. But here's the deal, guys. Listen, is it going to get any better if you continue to do what you've done? Because doing more of the same will just get you more of the same. And we are so addicted to the familiar that we're not willing to step outside of our comfort zone to make something work. And see, we want to talk about the reasons why people don't go to counseling. And I think the first reason is, hey, we can solve our problems on our own. Isn't that what we've heard our spouse say oftentimes? And that was one of the biggest reasons why there was such a resistance. And the fact of the matter is, you can't do it, because if you can do it, it would already be done. You wouldn't be in the state that you're in. And so Albert Einstein, I quote him all the time, you can't create a solution from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. So if your way of thinking, if your behavior got you into this mess and you don't know what else to do, you will stay there. You cannot get out. It's just not gonna happen. And so we try to DIY ourselves through our own marital recovery, but you cannot do it yourself. You have to rely on someone else who has wisdom and understanding that can get you where you need to go. Now, I used to use this analogy all the time. I haven't said it in a while, but think about getting on a plane. When you get on a plane and that plane begins to take off into the sky, it is a fact that 90% of the journey that plane goes on is off track. It's going in the wrong direction. But because you have navigation systems and because you have all of these things working computerized, it's constantly course correcting. The plane is constantly changing. Errors are constantly being corrected to make sure that plane is on a particular path. Because if there were no navigation systems, that plane would wind up in Timbuktu somewhere. It would never get to where it ultimately wants to go. Now, yes, the pilots are in there, they're conscious, they're doing what they need to do, but even they are relying on the systems, and they're making sure that all the systems are in place. So it goes from Atlanta to LA, from Dallas to Miami, from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey to Phoenix, Arizona. There's a navigational system. If they had to rely just on their own skills and talents and know-how, I mean, they're up there in clouds. I mean, what direction am I going in? And so that's what you need. If you attempt to do marital counseling on your own, the fact of the matter is 90% of your journey will be all off course. So you need somebody who can operate as a navigation, as a GPS, to make sure that you're on the right path, going in the right direction. It will ultimately get to where you want to go. I mean, and think about it, guys, with this whole DIY thing, think about it. Now, many of you have watched the Food Network, right? You've seen these master chefs make these amazing meals, and you figure, wow, that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I mean, shoot, the ingredients are right there. I done saw what they put in it. So you go to the supermarket and you get all of the ingredients to make this amazing dish. You go through all the work, you're watching the video, you're doing exactly what they do, and then you dig into it, and it doesn't taste anything like what you think it would taste like based upon what they did in that video. And you're like, well, why doesn't it taste the same? Because you have to understand, it's more than just ingredients, folks. It's not just the ingredients. There is mastery in terms of how they use those ingredients, how they cook it, temperatures, flavors, sauces. There's a whole process that they go through. So just doing something on your own, reading a book, or going and see an article on Google, or watching a video, and we're going to do it on our own, it doesn't work. We had a couple who did an intensive with us who said, Hassani, we've been watching all your videos, and we literally did what you said here and what you said there, and we realized that something's missing. Something's not working out. This is not supposed to be happening like this. And so when they came and did the intensive, at our retreat center, they were like, oh, that makes sense. In this thing that we did, it didn't work because we did it. We can't rely on ourselves to do this. It's almost like you both want to recover in your relationship and one of you is in the driver's seat. Well, the one who's in the driver's seat, who's steering, the other spouse has a problem with what they're doing. So we're going to switch. I'm going to drive. And then the other spouse has a problem with what their spouse is doing. But both of you have to get in the passenger seat, get in that back seat, put that seatbelt on, and allow somebody else to guide you through a process. When you do it, you're doing it the correct way. You're taking all of the necessary steps. So first reason is we can do it on our own. And wrong answer. The second reason why people don't go to counseling is counseling didn't work in the past. So in essence, we are haunted by the ghosts of our counseling past. And so we had a bad experience. The counselor they didn't know what they were doing. We couldn't relate to them. We couldn't connect with them. It just seems like it was one-sided. Everything was my fault and my spouse got off scot-free. Whatever the reason may have been, the assumption is because it didn't work in the past, it can't work in the future. And that's not true. One of the challenges that we see here is that the counselor that you may be going to isn't skilled and proficient in what it is that you need. Remember, rule number one, we talked about this. You listen to people who have what you want and have been where you are. So for some, they're going to people who aren't even married. They're going to people who may not have as many years of experience in their marriage and haven't experienced certain levels of crisis. They're going to people who are very well educated, licensed, certified, degrees, letters at the end of their name, but they don't deal with your issue. They're not infidelity recovery specialists. Some of them may not truly have marriage training in their history. But they're therapists, right? They can psychoanalyze you. They can give you great insight, but a pathway to get to restoration may not be their strong suit. So oftentimes we're going to very good qualified people who are experts, but they're not experts in the field that we need. And that's why you have to ask the questions. I had somebody reach out to me the other day that they're in counseling. I said, well, do they specialize in affair recovery? Well, I think so. I'm not, you know what? I never really asked that question. I know they've worked with a couple or two who've had, who's had an affair. Yeah, but do they specialize in it? What is the pathway that they take you through? What is the process? What is their track record? Are they able to help couples experience breakthrough? So if you've gone to qualified people, right? They're unqualified in specializing in what you need, but they're qualified in other things. Yes, I can understand why you would have a bad experience. But guess what, guys? Have you ever gone to a restaurant and had a bad meal? Have you ever gone to a movie theater and watched a bad movie? Have you ever gone on a vacation and had a bad experience? Did you stop vacationing? Did you stop eating out? Did you stop doing all the things that you want to do because you've once had a bad experience? If we all took that approach, guys, life would be miserable. Life would be a bore. So I want to encourage you, try it again. But just like when you buy a car, they say that you should be a knowledgeable consumer. You don't just show up on a dealership with no insight, no know-how, no knowledge of what you want. Yeah, I just want a nice car. Well, they will sell you something that you can't afford and put you in something that you had no plans for because you didn't come in there with knowledge and understanding. But when you begin to research what it is you're looking for and what it is you need, and you're watching these videos and reading articles, you should have more insight with who you select to make sure that they're qualified to give you what you want. All right, number three, we don't have time for counseling. This is something that we hear quite often because, listen, guys, we live very busy lives. We talked about this in the Audacity of Marriage, 10 Principles of Lifelong Partnership. There's a chapter in there entitled How to Have a Time-Rich Marriage. Because oftentimes when you get married, now, it's off to the races. You got to work, and sometimes you got to have a second job just to make ends meet. And you're doing all this stuff. You're involved in church, extracurricular. You're dealing with the kids. There's a lot going on, managing these schedules. Matter of fact, some of you may be living in different states or bi-coastal. So maybe one of you is traveling for work all the time. You're on the road 3-4 times a week. And so it just seems like a great impossibility. We can't get to the same space where we are in the same room to do it. But guys, this is why we as counselors and our team can go as late as 10, 11 o'clock at night. That's what we do. Now, we are here in Atlanta on the East Coast. Maybe you're on the West Coast and there's a 3-hour time difference. Guess what? We have counselors on the West Coast. We have counselors in Central Standard Time. We have counselors in Mountain Time. We have counselors in different parts of this country that can accommodate your schedule. So maybe you thought, because traditional therapy says, our office hours are from 9 to 5. Well, we know that the overwhelming majority can't do it from 9 to 5. So we will accommodate you in the evenings. Now, some of you say, well, the weekdays won't work. We can only do weekends. Well, guess what? We do intensives every single weekend, right? So we have counselors that have schedules that will accommodate your work life balance or the lack thereof. When we are working with people in Australia, they're 14 hours ahead. Working with people on the continent, they're 6 to 7 hours ahead in London. So we have people all over the world that are seeking help in different time zones, and we make sure that when we bring our team members on, they're able to have alternative schedules to accommodate the couples that we work with. So we've just robbed you of yet another excuse as to why you cannot do counseling. All right, let's go to the next one. We don't want to talk to a stranger. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know you. I don't know nothing about you. I'm not going to open up to you. And guess what? I get it. Yeah. So when you're in need of care because you just had a major accident and you're racing to the emergency room, I guess you turn around because you don't know personally the doctor who is going to be there to treat you. Guys, it doesn't make sense. The logic does not make sense. Listen, the reality is you may not know the individual. See, if the only people you talk to are the people that you know, well, let's just be real about this. Have you ever heard this term before? You are the sum total of your 5 closest friends. That if you ever want to know where you're going to be in life, take a good look at your friends. Now, look at your marital situation and look at the couples that you have around you. From most of the couples we speak to, they say, yeah, when I look around, we all going through. I can't think of one couple that's really got it together. So now, because of you not wanting to talk to a stranger, you wanting to talk to someone that you are familiar with, you're going to share your problems with other people who share your same problems. So how are you going to get what you need? You can't. If anything, you'll get a listening ear. You'll get more reasons why, I feel you. I get it. I understand your situation. But are they checking you? Are they challenging you? Are they holding you accountable? Are they praying for you? Are they giving you what you don't have? Maybe not, if they're dealing with the same things. So going to someone that you do not know, come on, guys. That is insane. And this is exactly why we've been on air for the last 10 years doing videos. You know, people have come to us and said, you know, there was this video you did 8 years ago. That was amazing, because we've been out that long. I had a couple who came to us and said, listen, we've been following you guys for about 1.5 years now. I'm like, 1.5 years you've been watching every single day? I said, what took so long? Well, we just, you know, we weren't on the same page. But when we thought about going to counseling, it was an easy decision, because we understand the premise which you come from. We understand the dynamics that you and Danielle have in your relationship and your approach to working with other couples. And we're sold. We've read your books. We've gone to a couple seminars, possibly. We've seen you online, certain TV shows you've done, and your daily show. It's what we needed. And that's why we come on, so that you can become familiar with us in our approach, so that there is a comfort level to what it is that we do. Guys, I hope this is helping. Is this making sense? If this is not making sense, maybe you need to replay this again and hear what it is that we're talking about. But we're ultimately talking about the excuses that people give for not doing what it is that they need to do. Listen, we got a couple more, but we will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned. See you in a second. Hey guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. My name is Hassani. If you're just tuning in, I'm here in the saddle all by myself. But sometimes it just bees like that. That's right, I said it. I said that on purpose. Sometimes it's just like that. And so I hope that you're able to engage in this conversation with me. We're talking about the 7 reasons that people give for not going to counseling. But before we get back into that conversation, I just want to acknowledge our family: Vashawn, Torre, Kia, Lashero, Ralph, Cliff, Ronald, Lakeisha, Jackie, S.I., Ivory, E. Talisha. Good to see you all. Listen, got a couple questions. I'm reading this in real time. Ralph says, wondering how many couples use pet name. You've asked that like several times. Every time we're on this show, you're asking about pet names when talking to the spouse, or do you use street names all the time? So, I mean, yeah, we have pet names, but you know, that's for me and my boo. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could share that with you. But yeah, we do use pet names. And I think couples who use pet names, it's a sign that, okay, there's some closeness, right? When everything's formal and official, maybe it speaks to the fact that there's a little more connection that needs to happen. Some people do pet names, some people don't. I guess it's just preference. Some people say, hey babe, hey love, what's going on boo? Like that type of thing, or they actually have an official name. You know, so that's an interesting question. If you have a pet name, let's put it in there. Let's see what you got. Do you do that or do you not? All right, I think we have, okay, Jay says, my husband has been against counseling. Have to admit he's a changed man. Bought our first home and he's trying to please me in every way. I just can't get away from the sadness and memories of the infidelity. Yeah, so here's the situation, right? Maybe you need individual counseling to help you deal with these emotional triggers, to help you deal with the sadness, because it comes in waves, right? There's seasons when things are well, and then all of a sudden a wind, a gust comes upon you, and you're in this melancholy state. And sometimes it's hard to shake yourself out of it if you don't have the proper tools and techniques to make that happen. And individual counseling will help with that. But in addition to getting the help that you need, listen, the fact of the matter is your spouse has a part to play in your healing process. And it's just interesting how I find that, you know, individuals want to keep the marriage, they want to stay in the marriage, they want things to work out, but they make certain decisions about what they're absolutely not gonna do. And it's just like, dude, wait a minute, what do you mean? You want this marriage but aren't willing to do what I need you to do? Well, is your commitment to me or to the marriage? Well, why are you in this? What's your motivation and reason for wanting to be in this marriage? Is it me, or is it the benefits and the lifestyle and everything that comes along with being in a marriage? If it's about me and I'm telling you what I need to heal, what I need to overcome the struggles that I'm going through, then you should be hook, line, and sinker in and ready to go to do whatever's necessary to give me what I need so that we can have what we need. Because if I'm sad and I'm depressed and I'm going through, I'm not showing up as the best wife I can be. I'm not showing up as the best mother I can be. I'm not showing up as the best me I could be. And if you love me and you see me down, your job is here to help pick me up. And if going to counseling will make that happen, then Joker, let's go. What you waiting for? Let's call Couples Academy right now. Let's pick up a session or two and see how we can turn this thing around. See what I'm saying, guys? The reasons, the justifications, the rationalizations that we have for not wanting to go sometimes is ridiculous. Let's go back to the list. All right, we don't know anyone in our area. Now, that could actually be a legitimate thing. In fact, we have a lot of clients out of the country who say there's no one in our area, no one who specializes in this, but because the power of technology, we are able to engage in a process to take them through. And so maybe you're in a different part of the United States where that's the case. You know, there's a pandemic that we're still kind of recovering from, and people have all types of issues where they're not allowing people into their offices, they're not seeing them, or maybe they live in rural areas in the country. Like, we kind of live in a rural area here, right? So it takes us a minute to get to civilization, depending upon what it is. I mean, it could be, you know, if it's a 10-15 minute drive, which is it is for us. I mean, we were used to going like literally around the corner or walking to something, but now you got to get in a car. But for some of you, you live maybe an hour from the main city, 2 hours away, and there's nothing in your immediate area. And that's why the power of technology has allowed us to make impact with people no matter where you may be across the country or throughout the world. So we just robbed you of another excuse. All right, let's go to the next one. We will just go to our pastor, right? We'll just go to our pastor. In fact, a lot of times people do come to us saying that they've gone to their pastor. And listen, let me just tell you something. We honor those who are spiritual leaders and have authority and influence in your life. And I do believe that as a pastor, there is inspiration. There are scriptures that they can point you through or point you to that will help you, to undergird you. They can give you spiritual practices that may be helpful for you, but they cannot replace professional counseling. In fact, as a former pastor, having my own church, being a part of a mega church, and leading the marriage ministry, I'm telling you what I know. There's a major difference between pastoral counseling and professional counseling. Pastoral counseling takes you through a session or two, and the purpose is to help you to experience breakthrough. So they'll pull up scriptures, they'll give you inspiration, they'll pray over you, and they'll send you on their way. They have the best of intentions. They're doing it from their own heart, but they are not equipped to give you what you need. If I am a car mechanic and you own a plane and you ask me to get under your hood and fix what's going on because you just can't fly, I'm not that guy. You don't want me to fix your airplane engine because guess what, folks? You will die. And many of us are dying in our relationships because we're simply going to our pastor. And in certain communities, the pastor is the end all to everything. I have a problem in my relationship, I'm going to my pastor. I got a problem with my health, I'm going to my pastor. Got a problem on my job, I'm going to my pastor. I got a problem in whatever space, whatever area, with my cousin Junebug, I'm going to my pastor. And guess what? Your pastor must be dope if you have that level of confidence and belief. Now, yes, as a pastor, they should know a wide range of things because they've become a student of the word and a master teacher. And from Genesis to Revelations, they can give you insight. They're giving you principles for living. But sometimes you need to go to someone who can give you proper application for those principles. So in most church structures, I'm telling you now, you go to your pastor, the process is, all right, you can do 3 sessions with this particular couple. Thereafter, you refer them to a professional. We'll give you 3 sessions complimentary because you're a member of the church and membership has its privileges. But thereafter, you may need to go to somebody who's more equipped, more skilled, licensed, certified, trained, tested, tried, and proven to take you through a process. Most churches, particularly large churches, they already have relationship with professional counseling. So as soon as the request comes, they redirect you over to so-and-so. Many churches who have marriage ministries because they're marriage advocates and marriage enthusiasts, join that. Be a part of a community where they're pouring into you and giving you the word and giving you great insight, and they're volunteer leaders who have amazing stuff for you, but you're still in a general group environment. And when it comes to the particulars of your own issue, they may not be able to give you what you need. Why? Because the mega churches that I was a part of and the other mega churches that I'm aware of, you are taught, if you are in marriage ministry, your job, your role, your function is not to counsel a couple. Because they're dealing with something beyond your comprehension, understanding, and ability to help restore. You can pray with them, you can comfort them, you can give them advice in terms of where to go, but you cannot counsel them. It's built into the structure of a lot of the marital programs that are out there. And so if you simply say, well, I'm going to go to my church, I'm going to go to my pastor, it is the start of the process, but not the process itself. So we love our pastors, our spiritual leaders. We love the marriage ministries. We love all that they do, and get as much as you can. But you need more. You need more. I think that's a bomb, folks. I'm going to drop a bomb on that because some of you need to hear that. All right. Let's go to the next one. It's too expensive and we just can't afford it. Now, I get that. There, I was speaking to a woman literally the other day, and I don't know what made her tell me, but I was ordering some food at a restaurant and she just got to talking. She was a conversationalist and she was saying it's hard out there in these streets. A lot of people are struggling. They're living from paycheck to paycheck. Only have a couple dollars in savings, and in those particular situations, we absolutely get it. And this is exactly why we do what we do. We are committed every single day to giving you content. Listen, to subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. To watch this show, it doesn't cost you anything. To read the articles that we have online, it doesn't cost you anything. And so you don't always have to spend money to get information. You have it right here. You have the ability of asking us any question you want live on the show, and we will take the time to answer it. We get texts, we get emails. We understand the situation. We will take the time to pour in. When people from other countries, second and third world so-called countries, don't have finances to do traditional counseling, we will give them as many resources as we can. This is why we are here, guys. But for some of you, that may not be the issue. For some of you, you have the means. And for some of you, it's not a financial issue. It's an emotional one. Because when I think about it, what it would cost to do a session is what you spent on dinner last night. What it would cost to do a session pales in comparison to those tickets you just bought to go to that, to that professional game. I was shocked. I just found out that basic tickets to an Atlanta Hawks game could be like $200. Like, what? My TV, my flat screen costs a little bit more, so I think I'm gonna stick with that, because listen, folks, it's a value issue. I don't value a live experience watching two teams play. I'll watch it on my TV. I'm good with that. You put your money in the things that you value. If I go in your closet, I will see some serious designer clothes. The shoes you have, $300, $400, $500. The dress you have, a few $100s. When you get your hair did, how much did that cost? I heard somebody say something so powerful. We put more money into the hair on our head than the knowledge in our head. Boom! We put more money into what we have on our head, because you got to get your hair did, because you're going out tonight. Then the knowledge in your head. How much did you spend on that last vacation? Thousands of dollars. How much you spent on that last session? Oh, we don't have it. We can't do that. You put your money where you have value. If you don't put your money in counseling, you don't value it. If you don't put money in your marriage, you don't value it. Don't you know that people will make a quick, easy, fast decision to get a designer bag, designer shoes, designer clothes, but will struggle to buy a $20 book? Because you don't value it. But people who really want this will do whatever it takes to get what it is they want. I remember hearing somebody say, if you're willing, what are you willing to do to get the things that you say that you want? Are you willing to wake up early in the morning and stay up late at night? Are you willing to work all hours in between? Are you willing to do it for free sometimes? Are you willing to do it even when your butt is on the line? Are you willing to do it even when people think that you're crazy and tell you that it can't be done? What are you willing to do to get the things that you say that you want? You will do whatever it takes to get what you really want. You gotta want this marriage like you want air in your body. You gotta want this marriage the way you value life. It's so funny that when people are ending or they're near the ending of their life, they live in regret. They live in woulda, coulda, shoulda. Why didn't I just? I should have did. They beat themselves up because they knew what they were supposed to do but chose not to do because maybe they thought they weren't ready. It was uncomfortable. They were dealing with emotions and they couldn't allow themselves to deal with it. They weren't willing to put in the work. They weren't willing to make it happen. So that means you really don't want it. If you really want it, I'm going to tell you what people do who really want it, who don't have it. I've seen people do all types of things. I've seen people go to family members to get the money to get what they want. I've seen people cash out 401ks to get the money to get what they want. I've seen people say, we're not doing Christmas this year, to get the money to do what they want. I've seen people cancel vacations. We had somebody who was about to go on a cruise in 2 weeks. They canceled their vacation, got a refund to get the money to do what they want. Guys, I don't want to hear that you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you can't afford not to do it. And you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get what it is that you really say that you want. I think it was Burton Bradley who said, if you want anything bad enough, to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and purposeless without it, if you regret for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all of your hopes and dreams for it, you can be willing to do whatever it takes to get what it is that you say that you want. You've got to hustle. You got to fight. You got to have ingenuity. You have to have tenacity. You have to have stick-to-itivism. You've got to be willing to do whatever it takes, folks. What are you waiting for? Get out of your own way. Get out of your comfort zone. If you really want this marriage, stop tiptoeing, tap dancing, and pussyfooting, and make something happen. You're watching the Couples Academy show. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Hopefully I didn't offend you. Hopefully I told you something that you needed to hear. And if it sounded like a tell-off, then guess what, folks? That's what you needed to hear. But I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.